All right, guys, for our first card, we're going to be doing a very simple stamping. We're going to be doing our, of course, Christmas colors using Simon Says Lipstick Red along with green apple. We're going to be doing some embossing using the White Puff Twinkle embossing glitter. And then we have a piece of the lipstick red cardstock included in the kit. For our stamp sets, we're going to be using the Ho Ho Ho, and it's really fun, and we're going to alternate repetitive stamping with different colors. And for the sentiment, we are using the beautiful Merry Christmas. So let's get started. We're going to move everything aside here. And we're going to begin with our stamping. So be sure to have a baby wipe or something to clean off your stamp. We're going to begin with the green apple. And the reason why is that I feel that sometimes red inks kind of stain things. So we are going to stamp down this Ho Ho Ho. We're going to hold it for just a couple seconds, and we're going to move on quite quickly. And so we're going to kind of do this like if you were doing stickers or a post-it stamp and doing repetitive stamping, and then we're going to be using some of that red to fill in the blanks. So be sure to leave enough room in between the green Ho Ho Ho's to get the red. So I'm going to move this just a tad, bring it down so that way it's not exactly in the same level. And then we can always come back and switch things up or add more stamping if necessary. So I'm going to clean off my stamp. We're going to come back and grab the lipstick red, and this is such a beautiful Christmassy red, and it works so well, and it really is the perfect shade of red for your Christmas cards. I know sometimes people are looking for that perfect lipstick red stamp or ink color. So I'm very excited about this kit because it's really fun, and I feel like that gives it so much versatility. And so we're gonna just continue adding the Ho Ho Ho's onto our card. We're gonna flip this just a little bit. We're gonna ink up the bottom part, bring it up the top. And this video is just going to make it so easy and so fun to be able to mass produce a bunch of your Christmas cards. So if you are a last minute person, it really does make it super easy. All right, so now we have our Ho 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 ready to go, and we're going to go ahead and heat emboss our Merry Christmas. So I'm going to bring in the lipstick red, the Simon Says Stamp Embossing Watermark ink. I have my sentiment ready to go. And so we're going to place a little piece of scrap paper. And so I'm trying not to stamp on my scrap paper. And the reasoning why is that I want to keep it nice and clean to be able to stamp it. So we're going to stamp it. We're going to cover it with that white twinkle. We're going to trim this red cardstock, and then we're going to place it with foam on our card base. So we're going to do this right here. Super beautiful glittery white. Shake off any excess, and then we're going to heat set and trim. All right, so we heat embossed it. It's beautiful, it's glittery, and I've added a piece of foam that I just folded over so you get a really tall layer. And then we're going to place it right on the card base. And your first card, clean and simple repetitive stamping, is ready to go. You can go ahead and embellish with red Nuvo drops or some sequins, but today we're using just the contents of the kit, so we're going to leave it nice and clean. All right, for this second card, we're again keeping it super simple, super easy Christmas. Let me show you what we're going to use from this beautiful Gnome for the Holiday stamp set. We're going to be using these two little stick figure trees, and we're going to actually put them sideways and stamp them in a pastel rainbow order. We're going to be using the Christmas along with the wishing you a very happy. We're going to color this in. We're not going to do any heat embossing. This is simply stamping and a little bit of foam. And then let me show you what we're using for our supplies. So I have pre-cut my white cardstock to 5.5 by 4.25. I have trimmed 2 pieces of black. One is going to be holding on the side, and I like to just do a second one just in case I make a mistake. We have our strip for the Christmas. Then we're going to be coloring that beautiful Christmas stamp with this assortment of Copic colors. Also, we're going to be using the Simon Says stamp Hydrangea and Blue Jay, at Green Apple, Sunshine, Pale Blush Pink, and this is because I didn't have an orange, Teeny Bikini, which is a beautiful pink, and then back to purple, which is this gorgeous Hot Mama, and that's going to be how we're going to be stamping the awesome little trees. And then of course I already mentioned this, so let's get started. We're going to set everything aside, and we're going to bring in our scrap piece of paper again that we used earlier with our ho ho ho. And then we have our beautiful little stick tree. So this is going to be more of a geometric card in which we're really going to utilize the trees. And you can see, I think at some point, this wouldn't normally be a Christmas card. If you don't want to, you could totally just change on the sentiment. So we're going to begin with our longest and largest tree figure stamp that we've got. We're going to start at the top, and we're going to stamp down. We're going to clean off our stamp and move on. And I'm going to keep these in order. And the reason why is that I don't want to get shifted or lost. So we're going to move on to the Blue Jay. We're going to grab that. So, I mean, honestly, this is not any different repetitive stamping. We're changing out the colors, but it's really fun to be able to just simply stamp and not have to do a ton of heat embossing or really techniques that take a ton of time. So that's cleaned up. We're going to move on to Green Apple. Okay. We're going to grab Sunshine. All right. So back to Sunshine. And I had just paused my camera just for a second to get you guys a closer look to this. I'm stacking them. We're going to move on to Pale Blush Pink. Okay. Remove that. Back to the little stamp that we had used earlier with that Sunshine. To use the Teeny Bikini. And back to Hot Mama. Okay. And then we're going to repeat that all the way down to finish this. All right, it's ready to go. We finished it up. It's super, super pretty. So we're going to bring in our Simon Says Intense Blacks, and we're going to do 2 sets of stamping. We're going to do the Wishing You a Very Happy. We're going to stamp this directly onto the card base. We're going to hold it down and let it just kind of soak in that beautiful ink. Beautiful. I love, love, love that gorgeous font. Look how pretty that is. Okay, and then we have a second strip ready and cut, and we're going to stamp the Christmas. And I am using this Intense Black because it is Copic marker friendly. And so we're going to color each Christmas letter with Copic. So we're going to stamp this down, hold it down, and I ended up cutting my image a little bit just too close to the letter, so we're just gonna go ahead and trim that once we're done with the coloring. So it'll just make it a little bit easier to color. We're gonna set aside our ink, set aside our color block, and begin with coloring. So we have BV11, and I'm gonna set them all right here so you can see what colors we're utilizing. And we're just gonna keep it very simple. We're just gonna color and move on to the next one. Next, we're gonna do B12 for the age, and I'm leaving them uncapped because I know I'm gonna have to come back and utilize more of them to finish up the Christmas coloring. G24. So I'm super excited about these very fun, super easy DIY Christmas cards because it's super minimal supplies. Everybody has markers. They don't necessarily need to be Copics because we're not really blending anything. It's mostly just because this is what's available in my craft room. However, if you have color pencils, if you really want to add some more blending, you are a rock star by doing that. So we're going to finish up with this Christmas YR12, and then we're going to move on to RV11, and we're going to finish up the entire Christmas wording with this selection of rainbow colors, and then we're going to trim the paper piece top and sides to be able to set it with foam on our card base. All right, so we have our Christmas ready to go. We're going to place it right under this, and it's just going to be really pretty because it's going to pop up. Right, last but not least, so it's not so clean, we have a strip of black. And so I was telling you guys that I like to trim 2 black pieces, and the reason why is that I never know which one's going to fit best. So we're going to go with the thinner of the black pieces of cardstock. We're going to grab our Tombow adhesive. We're going to add just a flat piece of glue there, and then we're going to attach this at the very edge on the left side. And this has been pre-cut to match the same size as my card base. And then you can go ahead and add more embellishments, maybe a couple glittery sequins or whatnot, but I'm going to leave it clean and simple. And guys, we used just the contents of the kit, and look what a fun card we created. Okay, moving on to our next super easy, super Christmas card. We're going to be using repetitive stamping with the beautiful snowflakes. And we're going to be doing these in soft navy. And then for the sentiment, again, we're using Ho Ho Ho, which is super fun. So what we're going to be doing is I have a piece of A2 size cardstock, so 5.5 by 4.25. I have a Post-it note that's going to serve as our masking. And then I have a little piece of soft navy cardstock from a previous kit, but you can use any that you've got that matches your Simon Says ink. And we're going to heat emboss in gold a Ho Ho Ho, and then this is going to place right in the center. And again, it's going to keep it super easy. So we're going to begin with the soft navy ink pad, and I have my assorted snowflakes ready to go on the acrylic blocks. And we're just going to shift this so it's going to look super clean. We're going to make it a very heavy pattern onto that cardstock because we really want that square to really pop up and really be able to see it. So we're going to move quite quickly as we are stamping our card. That's going to make it super nice, and again, very easy to do when you are creating your DIY Christmas cards. And if you are a last minute DIYer, you're going to know that fast, simple, and easy really is the best way to go. So I'm going to stamp all the way around, and then we're going to move on to doing our heat embossing on that piece of soft navy cardstock. All right, so this is fully finished. We're going to remove that piece of Post-it, and you get this beautiful frame. And so this is going to fit really nicely in there. So we're going to set this aside. I have my Ho 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 ready to go. I'm going to bring in my embossing ink. We're going to grab this, really ink it up, and then we're going to try to center it at the best of our ability. Hold it down for just a couple seconds. We're going to bring in our gold embossing powder. We're going to lift from the bottom, and then we're going to cover the entire thing. At this point, you want to use some tweezers or something so you don't burn your fingers when you're doing your heat embossing. Going to shake off any of the excess. Do not touch the little stitches. I mean, every little detail on this counts. Just being sure to remove all excess. And then we're going to grab our heat gun, and we're going to heat set from the bottom, and then we're going to place this whole thing on our card, and it's going to be super easy and ready to go. All right, so nice and heat embossed. Look how pretty that looks, and kind of foily. I have some more foam on the back. We're going to place it right on the center, so then you have your beautiful white frame, and then you have this busy background, and then a super clean sentiment. Super easy Christmas card, right? I love it. Let's move on to the next card. I can't wait to show you what we're doing next. All right, for our last card for the video, we're going to be doing a really fun, simple stamping and coloring, super easy. We're going to be using this little gnome, and I have colored the end of that to be a hat, and I've used a color scheme of teal. I kind of want to do teal this Christmas. We're going to do these beautiful 2 little snowflakes, and then we are going to use the I love you no matter what. And then for our stamping of the snowflakes, we're going to be using the Malibu. And then we're going to mat it on one of the pieces of the pattern paper included in the kit. And I feel like that's going to tie it up all very nicely, because we're going to give that little gnome a little standing area with this N2 from Copic. And then we're going to do a little bit of embellishment with Copic, and this is BG32 in Aqua Mint. So let's get started. So we're going to begin by grabbing our white cardstock. Oh, excuse me about that. And we are going to add some adhesive to the back of this. I feel like the more layers when you stamp, you have like a more cushion. So we're going to place it and mat it first, and then we can move on to really putting the rest of the card together. So we're going to place this down, and the white cardstock has been trimmed just 1/4 of an inch on the edges, so you have this full, very pretty mat going on. Then we are going to grab our little gnome, and we're going to use him before, just to see where we're going to place our sentiment. And I'm going to add the I love you no matter what in the Malibu. And we're just going to ink that up real well. We're going to stamp it, and hopefully it's straight. We're going to lift, and now you have a really pretty sentiment going on. Again, we're not going to attach that guy just yet. We're going to add our snowflakes in the same color. So I have a large and a little one. And again, the whole point of doing the cards this way is to keep it just nice, clean, and simple. Because, you know, we're usually on a time crunch unless you're sending photo cards and you can just rush up those. But there is something special about sending homemade cards. Okay, so this guy's going to go right there. So before we do that, we're going to come in with our N2. We're going to grab the brushed part of the marker, and we're going to just color a little standing place for him. And then we're going to add a couple little dots, again, just to tie in the gray and that Malibu. And then I'm going to come in with my BG32. Oh, I'm going to grab the right end of this brush marker. And that's just going to make it look a little more finished. Move this over. So I have a piece, a foam adhesive on the back. We're going to remove that, and then we're going to place our little gnome right where we had added that gray standing place for him. And that's it, guys. At this point, you can add more embellishment if you like. I'm going to leave this where it's at. It's super clean and simple, and I really enjoy this card. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed these quick tutorials. I hope you are encouraged to make some handmade cards doing super easy techniques such as repetitive stamping, very basic coloring, and then you have just some masking. And honestly, we're using the same technique in all 4 cards: repetitive stamping, a little bit of coloring. Be sure to click at the videos I have coming up to use more of your Simon Says card kits. Click subscribe if you liked it, and you will get more notifications on videos. This is hicrystalthompson. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.